In the last episode, you heard from Adam Gilman, co-founder and president of Haya, who talked about their influencer marketing strategy to scale the brand and then sell it for $260 million. Today, on episode number 59, get ready. Ryan Groh is Associate Director of E-commerce at BILT. And today, we'll be talking about how they've used an app as a base for their loyal customers and as a way to improve their user experience and, well, grow lifetime value. I'm your host, Raphael Paulin-Daigle, and I'm the founder of SplitBase. This is Minds of E-commerce. Now, this episode is brought to you by SplitBase. At SplitBase, we help leading 8 and 9-figure brands such as Dr Squatch, Transparent Labs, Collars & Co., and Amica grow through customer-focused conversion optimization programs. Our programs pinpoint exactly where your store is losing money most, and then, well, we help you fix it. The result, you get increased conversions, higher AOV, and of course, more money, which in return allows you to scale advertising profitably. We've been at it for over a decade and can help you manage CRO from A to Z. From customer research, conversion design, strategy, copywriting, and development, we focus on growing your e-commerce sales while you get to focus on what you do best. So request a proposal today on splitbase.com to learn how we can help you get the most out of your marketing spend. All right, Ryan, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Raphael, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, well, as you know, this podcast is all about going deep and dissecting one key growth strategy so our listeners can get the most value right away. Now, BILT has been a pretty successful brand. Maybe just to give some our listeners some context, can you walk us through what type of brand BILT is in terms of scale and some of the milestones maybe that you've achieved?
Yeah, definitely. So BILT is a clothing apparel based brand that has been around for about 8 years, primarily D2C based. Started off with our CEO's vision of creating the ideal perfect pair of briefs as well as t-shirts. So that's how we started off. Our first couple sales were in October of 2016, being t-shirts and underwear. We've since scaled to over 15,000 SKUs, multiple channels. Right now, we're primarily focusing on a lot of building across our retail presence. We're almost about
Mm.
10 brick and mortar stores in the US, B2B app, all over different social channels, though primarily D2C still. But yeah, we've since scaled quite a bit, and I've been working with some pretty big clients lately, some partnerships, events. So yeah, it's been a pretty fun growth process the last handful of years.
Amazing, exciting stuff. Now, one of the things I think is really interesting is you guys have put a lot of focus into an app, right? And I've heard it from a lot of merchants sometimes, it's like, why should we build an app when, people can just go on our mobile website? At the end of the day, maybe let's just start with this. What's the difference for people listening between, having an app with, a specific shopping experience there and then, just sending people to your mobile site?
Yeah, I think it just kind of creates at first just that unique user experience. People are loyal to your brand. They want to continue seeing your brand. They, embrace the content. They subscribe to your notifications, your emails, your SMS. And so being able to create an app that creates that more unique experience dedicated to the brand keeps that dedicated cohort, focused into that brand identity. So if you go on your mobile app, it's easy to click back or go to a different tab or go to a different, store, anything like that.
Mm,
But when within that app, you're there. So you have that different experience, and you can create different experiences that feel different than the mobile experience that allow for that kind of unique branded experience in general. So whether it's dedicated push notifications, wish lists, different content, personalized material across, loyalty offerings. There's a multitude of things that kind of give it more of that specialized feel. And it's also just easier to access rather than, within a click of a button within your own, app folders versus having to go search, get to the site, log in, and kind of go through that whole experience.
yeah, it's much more of a focused experience for sure. Um, who does it target? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't imagine, a new customer who's not familiar with the website, who's clicked on an ad for the first time. I can't really imagine them downloading an app, and signing up, if it's their first interaction for the brand. So let's talk about kind of who's the target here.
Yeah, I'd say, we kind of look at it as like the built loyal. So, the app is a total LTV play. So we're looking at people that have purchased, three or more times in the last year, two or more times in the last year, people whose cart value has, reached higher than our average LTV value last 12 months. And so with that, we want to, cater towards those people. We want to cater towards people that are a part of our membership program. And then people that, are kind of within that last 60-day range of purchasing that, we've seen are still like opening up emails or opening up, text messages, anything like that, that is kind of keeping them in that funnel. We want to kind of bring them to that next step. And so the nice thing that I kind of look at it personally is, when you receive an SMS or an email, sometimes you have to, click into that and it takes you, to your email. And then, there's a couple of added steps with like going
Mm,
through SMS or email. Whereas if you get a free push notification, it pops up on your phone, you see the logo, you click on it, and it pulls you right into the app. So you're already right there in your own experience rather than having to do those added
yes.
clicks. Um, yeah.
Um, so something I'm wondering here is at what point do you start promoting the app to those customers? And how do you promote it? And I'm guessing it's probably a mixture of techniques, but what are those triggers?
Yeah, great question. I feel like at first we were really pushing it, through just different retention channels.
Mm,
Just kind of, hey, like, we have the new BILT app. Come check this out here for more. We were doing separate campaigns as well. So certain discounts or um, discount codes or product offerings were only available in app. So you had to download the app in order to go get that offering. So you see the people that are kind of like, um, like, okay, I really want to get this offering. I want to go download the app and get that. Another strategy we've done is in-app discounts only prior to
mm,
site-wide sales, and they might
smart.
be a higher discount prior to the site-wide sale. So get it early, get it now, especially kind of like new product focus as well.
Yeah.
So that's been really helpful for us. Um, a lot of like static presence though, in like the footer of our site, footer of emails. I think some just different like segmentation through email as well as
Mm,
hey, like we've seen you purchase on mobile, is your last like three or four orders. Have you considered the app? So stuff like that where we can kind of segment through channel purchasing, to then kind of also recognize that that customer doesn't have the app in their account. So kind of push it that way as well.
mm,
But a lot of it is kind of focused during the start. We've had an app for about over 2 years now.
okay.
So since then, we've kind of toned down and it's kind of more of like an organic presence now. But yeah, that hasn't really like toned down with like the capabilities that app partners are like allowing their merchants to do now with
Yeah.
segmented, notifications, testing, personalization, different offers there now, especially with what like Shopify is now offering with like functions. So it's kind of a endless opportunities.
For sure. I know one of the things that we touched base on a little bit was that it helps with LTV, especially with those segments, right? More focused, experienced. Now, I can imagine a lot of people who are listening to this are thinking, well, wow, like an app, it's like building a new website. There's a lot to maintain. There's a lot that needs to happen. So it needs to be worth it. So apart from LTV, have you seen other metrics get impacted as well?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of alongside LTV, we've seen a jump in AOV and UPT. We see a spike in sessions though too. So, and when looking across different, retention messaging across like SMS or email, and then push from app, we do see a significant amount of click through on segmentation of push through
Mm,
app over SMS and email. So again, it kind of just goes into like that, catered, built loyal cohort of people that are just like, oh, what's this promotion? I might as well just click on it right here. It's going to take me 10 seconds to figure it out from going from one click into the app to seeing what's there rather than, going to the site, having to log in, perhaps you're on a different browser, and vice versa there. So the app just kind of keeps that catered and logged in experience a little bit easier.
Mm. I'm curious here, right? Like, let's say I put myself in the shoes of a brand who's hearing about this and now they're thinking, oh, it'd be great to have an app. What are the steps to actually getting one launched? Like, are there specific, like from the tech stack side, like how much custom work does it require? What tools do you typically use to make that happen? And what's usually the timeline for building an app like that?
Yeah, great question. I think first off, you got to understand like, is your brand the brand that will, benefit from having an app?
Mm,
What's your SKU count? What's your customer cohort like? Um, you know, what's your UPT? And just anything in general. Like, is this a place where people can come and continue to shop at? Um,
that's a
you know,
great point. I wouldn't see any value to a single product brand having an app, for example.
Yeah, like for example, like, the average price point of, one of our t-shirts can be like 35, $40. So it's easy to, make bi-monthly purchases. It's easy for, brands like a Liquid IV or a Dr. Squatch or something that has, a handful of SKU and product to have an app where you can kind of have that loyal customer, that membership, that subscription model, something like that, where you can kind of cater all that into the same experience. So with apparel, that kind of falls in that
Mm,
same realm. If I were to work, or a brand that was selling like couches or something, that's going to be something that's going to, take a few additional clicks before making that purchase. And it might be, unless you have like subscription model for something like that, or fabric softener or cases or something like that, where it'd be easier to sell via app. I wouldn't consider an app as the
mm.
best option for a brand like that. Um, but yeah, I guess kind of going back to it, we've seen a lot of other competitors in the space, in apparel or not in apparel as well, kind of pushing towards the app, and just seeing trends of people saying like, hey, 15 to 20% of our overall sales are coming from app. We're seeing, higher LTV, higher AOV. We're seeing longer sessions in app as well. And, you can just kind of create these dynamic and personalized offerings as well through this channel that give you that added look and feel, um, to your brand. So
Yeah.
again,
And how do you get there? How do you build the app? Are there any specific tools? What's the timeline?
yeah, I mean, there's a few vendors out there that, are helping create, that app experience. So you partner with a brand such as like a Tapcart or Appbrew or Fuego. I mean, there's a handful out there that are, kind of leading the space, but, or a lot of people are kind of customizing or making apps themselves. So that's an option as well. But yeah, through that, or just like through those three channels I mentioned at first, you partner with one of them and you kind of figure out the look and feel of your app, how similar you want it to look to your mobile experience, what do you want to look and feel different. A nice thing for us is we're focusing, our site is headless, and so a lot of our pages are built through our CMS. So being able to create a React-based look and feel of these pages, as well as kind of like third-party or vendor apps on that are connect to our app, uh, feel kind of more seamless and React based is very important rather than like click on the FAQ and it links you to an external Safari page or
Yeah.
Android page or whatever that be. So trying to keep all of it honed in the app is, crucial for creating that experience. So, technically that was like a one thing for us. Integrations wise with, everything we have in our stack, across like, reviews, post-purchase tracking, return and exchange, product recs. I mean, a multitude of things. But then also for us, we're a bit tech savvy, being headless for over 3 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of the different sections and just kind of look and feels that we've been able to kind of create through our CMS, we want to be able to create that cross-channel in-app, but perhaps even more elevated.
Hmm.
So.
What's been the biggest challenge with the app? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Um, some like technically has been difficult, just like um I think it's kind of a new space over the last few years. So
Yeah.
some of it has been, kind of creating these React-based pages. Some of it has been integrating different, uh, tools and vendors across like subscription, loyalty, membership, um, maybe like personalization and testing. A lot of it is just stuff that's, being built out and kind of catered for. But I feel like the app space has only been around for a good 3 or so years that I've been
Mm,
kind of in it. Um, so yeah, that's been kind of an interesting technical side of it for us. And
yeah.
hence you see bigger brands that are, kind of recognizing this as well, that have, leaned towards creating their own custom app
Yeah.
instead, because they're just like, I want to get ahead of this and I want it like this. We're going to have this for a long time. We're just going to start from the ground up. So
Yeah, for sure. Now, this is super interesting. You mentioned testing and personalization. Obviously, that's key as part of an app. I'm sure you're doing some of that stuff on the website as well. How have you been able to unify kind of the testing both in the app and on the website? Are those treated as entirely separate things, or are you pretty much able to kind of recycle, for lack of better words, the same efforts?
yeah, no, that's a great question. I feel a lot of it's more so recycled, just kind of given
Right.
bandwidth and size and overall content. But a lot of the strategy can kind of change just looking at some parts of the strategy that a decipher is just looking at AOV cross channel. So AOV will be higher for us in app versus on site.
Mm,
So some of the recommendations we might have in a carousel will be a tad bit higher there,
right.
or the content will be showing, maybe a higher priced pair of pants versus, like a core pair of pants that's at a mid-tier price on site or something like that. So that's primarily it. It'll, primarily just be like content that'll be the differentiation upon like first landing on like the homepage
Mm,
of app or site. But for the most part, that's kind of it. We kind of keep it for recycled, as you say.
yep.
Uh, so, some of the strategy will primarily go across. We have a membership program where we have a couple different tiers of a premium and a basic tier. Premium is paid for annually, basic is free. But across both tiers, you're able to redeem, or earn and redeem store credit.
Mm,
With that, we want it to feel a little bit more personalized. You're going to see your name, kind of logged in as soon as you enter,
yes.
and perhaps different content, or, you're going to see your store credit offering in cart. Um, Sometimes something we're trying to build out is a kind of an in-cart test that will, if you're a basic member or a free member, or not even a member at all, you'll see an upsell for membership. But if
Mm,
you're, a member, you're not going to see that in cart, but it'll still show you your credits, and it'll say like, hey, purchase this, and you'll be able to, here's how many credits you're going to get from this. And something I want to build out on top of that is kind of dynamic recommendations. So if they have like
yes.
$30 of credits, you can then click here to see like, oh, see what I can get with this.
Yeah,
And it'll show
I
you
love
like
that.
a quick PLP of like products under that threshold that you can get with your credit. So
Super, super interesting. We've been talking to Ryan Groh, who's Associate Director of E-commerce at BILT. Now, Ryan, this was an incredible and super insightful conversation. Now, if people want to learn more about you, about BILT, where should they go?
yeah, built.com, or check out Built Basics on iOS or the Google App Store.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Awesome. Thank you, Raphael. Appreciate it.